In this video you can see me paint a portrait of this beautiful girl in an impressionist way. It is a part of a larger video which you find a link to in description and on my channel. I picked out only the face, and here you can see me and hear me explain how I paint this beautiful face in the impressionist way. As I said, you find the main file in description. Go check it out. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna paint a photo of a beautiful girl on this canvas, and I'm gonna start out as I usually do with kind of lining up, and I was actually counting 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, and just a little bit, and also to get this placed in the right place. And basically the golden snit is 1 and 2. Yeah, that is basically from here, I think, here. So I start out like this. I placed her basically in the middle, and usually I just start by pushing in a point like this, and another point. Maybe I should try this size. I'm not really sure what the size of the head is. So that's what I'm trying to figure out now. 1, 2, see, 1, 2, 3. No, it has to be bigger than that. So I think it's probably going to be here. If I don't so help, that's a little bit higher up here. So this is just approximately how I start. I don't use I never use a tracer or anything like that. I just start looking at it, and I try to place it as good as I can, and then I just evolve it from there. She has quite a high hair. Her name is Curly. No, she's not Curly. I think she was Maria or something like that. She's a Russian. Beautiful girl. And yeah, so this is what I do, like this. I actually look very forward to paint this painting, because the subject of the painting, I want to show you the photo in the beginning of this video when it's finished. So but I have to cover it up because it's a nude, and if I show any nude photos in my video, this one will probably be demonetized anyway, because it has some nude figure, and that's a sad thing with YouTube actually, because they are kind of censoring art, and it's a little bit weird, I think. This probably also be a very long video. A very long video, yes, because I know my videos are long, yes, many of them, but if you really want to, I'm going to try to keep this to the point that it is about painting. You see that to learn to paint, you have to have patience. You can't learn to paint in 10 minutes. You know these 10 minutes videos you see on YouTube? Well, fine, but it doesn't take 10 minutes to paint a painting. So you basically need to have a little bit more patience. This one here. Patience is gold when it comes to painting. I'm just gonna place this. This is just totally rough. It's just to get a sense of approximately. There's the nose. Just beautiful lips. Cheek. Socket. Cheek. This. You see, I'm not very classical, really. I just do all these things approximately now, and then I'm gonna go back in and focus more close. Here's the arm, coming from face, ear, basically here, wrist, and boom, and boom, boom. You see now? 1, 2, approximately. 1, say 1, 2, 3, not right. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, actually quite well. Now the good thing is it's a very nice shadow hits on the wall there behind her. There's a lot of texture in the wall, and the colors is kind of toned down, so it's not going to be so very strong colors. You also have beautiful, some really beautiful tattoos with very nice colors. The colors I use on my palette, actually, that was one of the things that made it so kind of fascinating to paint her, because she has these beautiful colors. Yeah. I really want to make this big, but I have one more where she looks out, the same position, and I want to do that in a huge painting, because I have a series that I'm making that's going to be my art of painting in relation to Jan Vermeer, the art of painting. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. it looks like nothing right now. It's just, I'm just kind of placing things approximately, and then I go deeper as I go along. And well, I've said that already. Flat pencil, and I'll just place a little bit more, and then I will, since I placed it approximately now where it is supposed to be, I will go more up close and paint the face, for the sketch of the face. And then I'll just hang a picture here and go all the way close so you can see more close up what I'm doing when I'm painting it. And that will take, because I always do the face first, and that is because I need that point to work from, and then when I have done the face, I relate everything else to the face. You don't start painting the toes, okay? Of course you can, if you're good. I mean, if you are full-blown, what's it called? Rain Man. Yeah, I don't remember the disorder now. Well, you will have a strange brain if you can actually start with the toes. What is it called, that diagnosis again? Rain Man? Probably seen the movie Rain Man. Tom Cruise and the other guy. There are people who can actually distance themselves from all the symbols and almost human copy machines. But I'm not a human copy machine. Or as I say, I'm kind of a Windows 95. Still. Not even that. So, important to see things. When I see here, up here, I will have the forehead. And I see this compared to this line here. It goes down to the hand, which is on the wall. That girl is so beautiful. She's really stunning. Such a pleasure painting. Such beauty. And yeah, it makes me feel alive. Oops. Cheek. Yeah, I should go closer because, yeah. Okay. That's how it is. That's how I start. So, next time. Okie dokie. Yeah. Here we are. and I'm going to paint here. As you can see, I just hang it beside there. Now this face is basically, well, it's not the right size, it's almost there, but I didn't go up the right size. I'm also gonna do some changes to the print. I'm gonna print out some new prints which is a little bit more have a little bit more bluish or greenish and yellowish in them, because my printer, I got a new PC, so I haven't calibrated, as it's called in Norway, calibrated it up yet, so I guess I just have to do that. And yeah. I'm just gonna work around a little bit here with it here. Just gonna darken it. It's gonna be fun to work with all these curls. Very nice. It's so giving to start a new painting like this. Try to figure out where everything is. Keep it loose, like this. Your eye. Just down like this, down like this. And the good thing about, I'm not using, as I said in the beginning, I don't use any cheating, as I call it. I don't use any projector or any tracing. So of course that makes it a little bit harder, because I have to do everything freehand, see it, place it, and get it right. Both the size and everything, because it's very hard to cheat. Usually I paint things a little bit bigger than it is. So it's not often I have experience to actually paint a face that suddenly becomes smaller than reality, and I get into trouble with the size of the format on the canvas. But it can happen, and there are several ways you can fix that. You can just basically take it off the canvas or the frame and just basically move it a little bit. Or if it's really bad, you have really missed the mark, it's just to basically paint it bigger or smaller. But that is a grueling process, and you want to avoid that by trying to get the sketch in so it doesn't deviate too much from the subjective matter. One of my patrons, or people I teach to paint a little bit, he gave himself a severe problem by trying to create a landscape with a girl figure in this landscape, and he tried to paint it all the way only from his head. He actually had a subject or a model, very beautiful girl actually, and I recommended him to paint that as a standalone painting, because painting, I used to do that when I was very young and I was this kind of romantic idealist. I tried to paint paintings called Utopia and a lot of kind of and I tried to make things like landscapes and stuff from my head, and it didn't work out very well. I could paint a landscape from my head now, because I know some of the rules, or I can actually basically picture a landscape. It's just a line and sky and stuff, but it wouldn't become like when I do from a real object. Whereas I used to do, I was actually going out in nature and painting. That would be so nice to sometime do again. Stand one. So someday maybe. So see. Put my glasses on so I see better. Oh, I see so much better. It's only +1, so my eyesight isn't that bad. But it kind of varies a little bit with how I feel or what I've been eating. So sugar is definitely not good for your eyesight. So stay away from refined sugar if you have problems or getting older and getting some problems with your eyesight. Because the sugar leads to inflammation, and inflammation leads to disturbance of the central nervous system and the eyesight and stuff like that. So it can be healthy too. She has such a beautiful nose. Stunning girl. Really beautiful. There's something with the Russians. They haven't gone through so much war and carnage, and only the best genes have survived. So these girls look really, really beautiful. Perfect. Perfection. Perfection. Oui, oui. Her lips are stunning. Just this bulging lips. It's the kind of girl you can actually fall in love with. But you know it's gonna be a danger zone. Ooh. And I'm the kind of guy who, when I fall in love with someone, I really fall in love. There's no doubt about it. So at my age, I might want to avoid that. Concentrate on important things like this, like painting. Anyway, blah blah blah. As you can see now, I'm just building and building. It is basically my brain. I can feel how my brain works when I do this. It just picks up small dots all over the place and just moves them like clay into place. And it's just such an it's very gratifying. There's a lot of gratification to it. I really love doing it. It's some of the it's the thing that made me into a painter. Just a feeling of connection with the flow and the creative process. And I would recommend that for anyone who wants to connect with a deeper part of themselves. So, yeah. But I also want to warn you, connecting with deeper parts of yourself leads to a few, shall we say, side effects. You will become more conscious, more self-critical, or you will do like a lot of artists actually do. They just become superficial, narcissistic assholes who think they are way more important than they are. So without actually having the skill to back it up. So it's you see many pitfalls in this. I'm kind of shaping up a little bit now. You see that? down. Oh, I just love this. This is my love, the love of my life. This is my true love of my life. And everything else is just distractions. I found my mistress. And this painting. Isn't that great? Just finding the love of your life in your own, in yourself. Okay, I think that was a nice, fast rendition. Huh? We'll take a break. It was 11 minutes. That was much. I should do some more. Nah. I'm gonna paint some more and come back to you. Or, nah, wait a minute, a little bit more. It's gonna be a long video anyway. See, and now it's very important. Textures needs to have an address. It's my neighbor, he has a store, and in the mornings he always makes a lot of noise. But that's okay. He's nice. He's a nice guy. From Pakistan. Whoa, sounds like thunder. There. Like this. Sleeping Beauty. Ah, no, it's wrong. Oh, I just love this. Da, 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 da. And dissolve that. So, okay. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. Nice sketch. Okay, as you can see, I have gotten a little bit further with this, and I now have managed to kind of mold it, getting a little bit closer to some likeness. And of course, same thing, just keep on adding paint. The thing now, everything from now is basically killing my darlings. And I posted a short video, half an hour video on YouTube when I paint this to music, to some piano music. And I got this comment, how nice to open the brushwork is. And it's exactly what it is. It's so open, and it is very beautiful when it is like this. And it's basically sad to paint over it and destroy it, but the only way to get to a finished painting is to keep on painting. The problem is always to keep it open. And that is a problem I have been fighting now for years, because I wanted to keep the paintedness, but I also want the clarity. And it's almost sometimes I wonder, can I find a way to have both? And the way to have both, as I see it, is to bring in the time needed for it to happen. And I think that is basically one of the only ways to do it. So yeah. Okay. Here. I'm just I work in a very specific way. I think I am a more visual thinker. I always visualize things in my head when I'm going to solve problems and stuff. And I actually heard a lecture today about basically autism and or the creative mind. I'm not saying I'm an autist. But then again, I have a tendency to say everything I think and mean, no matter the consequences. So there's maybe a little bit also an autistic part of me. But I think it's more it is kind of not in the extreme range anyway. But some people visualize things. When I think, even if when I was building my barn studio, my father, because it was almost falling down, this old barn, and it's gone, everything is never going to save this now. And I said, yeah, you just watch me. And as I was building this and figure out how to do it, I kind of saw things for me in pictures. And I've always been like that, almost all the way from I was a child. When I try to figure something else, it kind of pops up many different pictures in my head. And I kind of have to figure out which one of them that will work the best. And when I paint, it is a little bit the same thing. I almost put the whole thing into compartments, and I just see it I kind of see it in my head before I do it. It's hard to explain. I had a hobby for a few years. That was basically because when I was a kid, I was building a lot of rockets, I was building a lot of weapons and guns, and almost blew my face off actually with it. And I also set myself on fire once with gasoline in my face. Luckily my brother was right beside me and put it out. I was kind of trying to blow a flame from my mouth, but I forgot to turn away, and of course the fire caught in my mouth and face, so I was lucky. But I also made this gun and I got it right in my face. But I managed to start buying replica guns, because I always loved guns, and I started to build them into, not with live ammunition, but I find ways to make blank cartridges into live ammunition. It's so ridiculous, because I can there was no point to this at all. I just some kind of hobby I got, and I used a lot of money buying them, and every time I and I failed many times, loaded too much, blew up and stuff, and but in the end I got it right. And when I was doing that, I used the same method. I kind of pictured in my head how to make it work, and in the end I made it work. So it's quite fun, but it's over now, so my days as a weaponsmith is over. That's a good thing. It was actually when I was in a lot of pain with my hips and stuff, and I couldn't really connect with the painting, so I got this hobby and walked in my childhood shoes. So, but it's kind of the same thing. Anything I do, when I was a kid, I was making my own, making stuff all the time, but it was rockets and guns, and it was spears, and it was, you know, I made my own, I had my own ducks, and I had my own ducks and chickens and hens that laid eggs, and I took care of them, and yeah, so I made all the water they were swimming in. So I was a creative kid. But I always seen things in pictures. When I look at my childhood drawings, they're always quite weird, you know. So I think I was a weird kid. Maybe that's why I was a little bit bullied. Not bullied, but more like pushed out or seen as strange. So my daughter, same thing actually. See, now I'm gonna start, you know, you can put in some color here, which is, you never want it to be too strong like this. So since this is wet and wet, I can go in and I can shake it up, and I can put in new things. I can shake it up again. And I thought I was actually trying to make this painting basically without letting it dry too much between layers, and just keep on painting on it until it's almost made out of very tiny brushwork on top of each other, basically wet and wet. That could be exciting. That would be different from what I usually do, which I would probably do here too, because I'm such an erotic that sooner or later I'm going to try to make everything extremely figurative or extremely clear. But I would love to be able to keep it down like this, and just build it more and more to 3D with brushwork and not too much fine shadow. Then again, I was actually planning going totally the other way, and usually I'm not even able to hold myself back, so at some point I would probably screw it up and start adding detail, too much detail. And then when I do that, the time you do that, when you go over that threshold, when you go over that point, it is a point, usually a point of no return, because you kind of just keep on adding and adding, and then at some point you just, okay, now it's kind of beyond sketch, it's beyond Impressionist, and there is not much to do other than just keep on making it more and more basically Vermeer-like and stuff. But I'm gonna do my best to hold back and paint in a more impressionist way. So let's see what happens. It's fascinating to feel the pleasure of painting. I can't say that enough. The pleasure of painting is so liberating. It is just, I can feel my brain. I can feel how my brain, because my brain is just on all the effing time. I have to be careful with my language, or I'll probably be demonetized anyway, this, because of nudity. It's typical. But it's just so amazing to feel how my ADHD brain calms down when I start really getting into the flow, and how happy I feel and content and in the zone, my zone. So beautiful. It's the only thing I should do every day, all day, and then just take a break and meet some people, some fun. So yeah, well, it's getting better. So okay, I'm gonna remove this because I don't want to show it on naked body much on camera. I have some beautiful, it's such a beautiful girl. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And you can see I've been doing some more work. And I'm going to work a little bit around it. Okay. I'm going to do some in the face, just adjustments, small changes, incremental, and yeah, trying to keep it open still. If not, I'm going to get into trouble, I think. As you can see, I'm just trying to work in directions still. Using the background actively. Then try to I'm trying. Well, this is why the first sketch is always the easiest, because the deeper you go, the easier it is to kind of screw it up. Suddenly you have you are on that wild goose chase. You're trying to walk back the cat, and you're trying to to basically undo a lot of things you have done wrong. And it's not easy, but that is kind of also the charm of the whole thing. So don't be afraid to kill your darlings and try to move on. Maybe a smaller pencil could be good right there. You can find it. So there it is. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think that was better. And we'll move into these here. Now I'm going into using more of the more broken earthy colors like Rotenbach, burnt timber, and I also use my ivory black in there because that is kind of more a neutral black, but I mix it with Rotenbach and Van Dyke brown and all these other colors. And here I will kind of try to build up a feeling of dynamic, almost woolly brushwork. After a while I will let this just glide into one another best I can. This girl is so pretty. She's so pretty. Uh-huh. Kraplak. The highlights I'm using more cadmium. Some highlights. Yes. Cup black again, without much white to create that underlip. Cup black with some white on the upper there. And I just had to go kind of back and forth a few times with that to reach what I want to reach. Of course, it's not done in. And I'm trying to build this in a more impressionist way. Just kind of pointy painting. For not making it become stiff and disgusting. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Do some. Yeah, I'm going to use some Van Dyke here. And she has a lot of things kind of crossing over like this. Funny, I was talking about the friend I had many years ago who didn't understand brushwork. And I actually dreamt about him last night that I met him. And he was so hostile. He didn't even want to talk to me. Such a strange dream. It's so funny because when time flows, time goes, and I kind of remember I have had many friends which came and went, and it has to do with my personality. I'm quite an intense person to be around, and I guess I wear people down, some people down. I also tended to have friends that kind of came to me that needed somebody basically to be their friend or take care of them. And I have in me this helper gene. Maybe it's a way to get attention, or so I don't. It's very hard to know your own motive for bringing in people who are a little bit weak. Well, this guy wasn't weak actually. I wouldn't call him weak because he wasn't. He was an alpha male, and so am I in many ways. But in the end it collided, really, because he couldn't actually do much of his work, and I guess we just did glide from each other. But that dream was so strange because I was actually happy to see the guy, you know. I have a lot of memories, good memories. He was one of the people who, his name was Kevin, actually. I have very good memories from that friendship when it was good. It was kind of a brotherly friendship. But that dream was so strange because it was so hostile, and it didn't end well, this friendship. It didn't end well at all. He was really nasty the last time I actually talked to him. It's many years ago. But despite that, I learned so much from that friendship. And I have other friendships I had for years too that ended. And I kind of love the time we had together. I have girlfriends that I'm not with anymore. But I'm so grateful for the times we had together. Hope you see what I'm doing. You see what I'm doing now, because I'm kind of building. I'm learning as I go along in many ways. I can show you that a little bit closer. All these curls, you know, how do you get these things, the curls in between? Well, you just do like this. You just put color in, and then you kind of get the background, because it's going to be quite bluish in the background. And I just put in a little bit color, so it looks like it shines through. And all of that is just small brushwork. You kind of see, in the end, will make it look like you're seeing through the hair. You can do in other directions and stuff. So that is the way to go about it. But as I go along, I will kind of lock that in more and more and more. And it's almost, I decided what to do in this painting before I started it. Okay. And that is also a very good thing to do, that you decide, okay, I'm going to do this painting in this way or that way. If I chose to go as photorealistic, I'm not that kind of a painter, so I don't even know if I'm able to paint totally photorealistic, because I'm not able to hold back my brushwork and to get it to become very, very photorealistic, you have to keep the brushwork basically on the same level. Some people say, oh, it looks like a photo. Well, that is because people see my paintings in photographs, and of course they will look more like photos in photographs of the painting, because it's comprimeert, or it's kind of compressed. Yeah, compressed is the word. Down to a smaller thing. So you can use when you paint like this, you can use your brush to create. Now I really, really love this. This is just what I'm doing now. Is just it's almost better than sex. It is better than sex because it's not a short buzz. It's a long buzz. Sex is more a short buzz. And this is just so giving over time. It's amazing. No idea. And when I do brushwork like this, it just makes me so happy. You can see how I can
evolve more and more as I go along. Yeah. Lovely. I have become such a conscious being that I'm kind of gonna watch myself get old and die. It's not gonna be any ignorance to it. It's not gonna be a surprise. It's not gonna be a point where suddenly, oh shit, I'm so old. No, it's gonna be a incremental gliding experience, which I want to notice every day. And my work, my paintings will be, in a way, tags in time in this deep process. I remember Christopher Hitchens, the author Christopher Hitchens, did say before he got sick that since he never chose his own birth, and didn't remember his own birth, he wanted to kind of go out in the conscious, to basically be around for the last thoughts. It didn't happen that way. He was in a coma when he died because of his cancer. And he also did say that when he got esophageal cancer, which of course were very natural because of the way he was treating himself horribly, unhealthy. He said that he was going to change his mind because being suffocated in your own vomit basically would not be a nice way to go. But anyway, I would kind of want to be in the conscious when I leave. Because I want to know. Of course, when you get very old, if I get old, if I don't die in an accident or something bad happens, like somebody cuts my head off because of my Muhammad paintings, stuff like that, like in France. I hope to be, when you get old, I will know. I mean, if you are like getting almost 90, 100, you're getting up to that age and you don't function that well anymore, you know that you are, going towards the end. And that's going to be a strange thing. I think too much. My mother, my beautiful, beautiful mother, she always tells me that I think too much. And I think I agree. But there is no button that I know of that can turn it off. Except from this. I also want to start learning how to play the piano soon. And I will start writing my books. And then my life will be about flow and not short buzz, which I'm pretty well done with anyway. I still love to have sex and still love all these things, but they don't have that grip on me like it used to. So That's good. You don't want to be a slave. The Stoics talks about that. Don't be a slave to your own cock or to your short buzz. Be a master. Choose. Be able to choose. If you give in to only pleasure, you don't actually have any will at all. It's just random pleasure seeking. And there will not be any good result from it. There's nothing that good that comes from it over time. So go for the long-term, incremental things that matter. The things that make you better over time. Okay, maybe I should try to talk about painting, since that is why you're here in my digressions. Okay, let's talk about painting. Painting. Talk about painting. Why talk so much? I should start doing live streams with it's almost like I feel I lack some no, this is the wrong color. Has to be more reddish in the light there. Like this. This. Lighten that up. Now you see how I'm doing this. Just trying to dissolve it, move back and forth. Yeah, that's good. That's better, way better. To make it come alive. And you have the tattoos underneath here. Underneath to here. So everything here just have to totally dissolve in many ways. And yeah. There's and here. This is what I was talking about in the beginning. You just have to work like I did with the trees and in my Impressionist painting on YouTube. So. Giddy up. This one goes from here. Yes. And they go back like this. But I guess you get the point. From a distance, it's really starting to look like something. So yeah, I'm just going to keep banging on. I didn't see much of all of what I did. There it is. And yeah, sorry about that. Anyway. So, I've been working with a face for a while, and the strange thing is that in the photo, the colors in the photo is acting differently than in the painting. Of course, that's natural, but they are actually more the same colors in reality than they are here in the camera. So here this looks more yellowish and this looks more reddish, but actually they are more the same in reality. That's kind of a strange thing. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I will keep on banging on. I'm a little bit more into okay, I'm trying to avoid actually going into too much detail, because that is a very different process. I want, as I said in the beginning, I want to keep this open and keep this on the more impressionist level. It's also because of time and also a choice I make in this painting. But I think it's kind of getting quite nice now, and yeah. So it's starting to look like her. If I'm going to, let me see, that was too much. If I'm going to go deeper, it is a different process. I can't really throw in that much color at once. I need to kind of hold it back a little bit. But when I do it more sketch-like this, I can actually go into it with a little bit more color and textures and stuff. So and I also don't want to become too manic, that I start to screw things up and stuff like that. So yeah. I think the lips has become quite nice. Just very nice lips. Kissing lips, as they call. I was also going to actually print out some new prints, work with 12 different colors, but they didn't have, the store I usually buy my print color didn't have what I needed until Monday, and that is too late, so I just have to go with what I have. That's fine, really. Doesn't really matter that much. It's so little that can actually screw it up a little bit, and after a while I'm getting really, as usually, that is a problem with, in the beginning it's such a, it gives all the time, and it's open, and it's not that stressful. as you kind of evolve the painting, it becomes more and more difficult, more and more demanding, and every step takes more and more time. And yeah. Now I will do some more around here. So I'll zoom out a little bit, maybe. No, that's not necessary. Do something with the hair and stuff. See, I've also started to paint in the tattoo and stuff. So also I want the hair to feel a little bit more natural, so I have to paint in basically the background. That's what I do. Just first I go in like this, as I showed you before, and then I try to go over that again, like this. And you just go back and forth like that. And in a way you just suddenly start building something more natural. Yeah. That's Van Dyke brown. Van Dyke. It's a very nice color because it has some blue in it. I really enjoy it. I feel it has some blue in it. I don't know if that's totally correct, but that's my feeling of the Van Dyke. The background has also dried a little bit, so I can add more color now in the background. That was a little bit too high, I think. As I said before, it doesn't have to be a perfect rendition. I don't know if I need the glasses now. No. Just need to get some. See. It's to be a little bit. A little bit more lines hitting it, hitting the wall. For the next 2 days I have to work like 24 hours on this to finish it. So I'm just gonna put myself into the 0 zone and just go into it with all of myself and try to finish it. I guess it's quite interesting for you to see. So what I'm doing here. get some more life in that here. And now I'm using my more brownish colors, like the Van Dyck and Kraplak, and I very much like to mix the French ultramarine blue and Kraplak and Van Dyck brown in shadows like this. I think it gives a very nice and deep, more natural color. Also there are some light areas there. Then I need a little bit more reddish down here. No, that's wrong. I just need to find that tone. Yeah, I think that was more like it. Yeah, some light there. Also down here. The good thing is about when you paint in wet and wet, you can push, as I said before, you can add a layer and then you can go on top of that again, put in more, you can push it down. And that is how I kind of mix and do things on the canvas, instead of mixing everything on my palette, which is not meaningful all the time. I also paint very dry now to make it stick. I'm not gonna try to paint in every curl, that is just not possible here. And not a goal in itself either. I also have to focus on not letting my eyes trick me to think that things are more bright and stuff. Yeah, that's, you see, you can make things come alive. Also just scraping in. You see, Rembrandt did a lot of these things, and painted, like you put on a layer to get natural, you go in like this, and so many things you can do to make it come more alive. Just putting in some texture, despite it being dark. So you actually feel there's something inside there. Also some of the light is actually reflected in the hair. Some of the blue from the wall. Actually, most of it has dried. Not here, actually. Because that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna build out that more anyway. It's kind of a, what is it? It's a kind of greenish type of color. Very bright. How bright is it? It's always hard to figure out. You see it in the Sick Child by Edvard Munch. You can really see the love of painting. How he has been working with the motif, with the colors and the textures in such an intense way. And that is basically also why it's so disappointing for me to see Edvard Munch's later works, which I think is just a bunch of sketches, where it seems almost like he didn't love what he was doing anymore. Maybe he was depressed, maybe he felt that life had passed him by or something. But I feel I can see that in his paintings, the later paintings, when he was just doing a lot of what I would call rough sketches. You look at a Sick Child, the painting of a sister when she perished from tuberculosis. There's such love, there's such intense love in the brushwork, and just an intense presence. It's unbelievable, actually, and it kind of disappeared as he got older. It makes me sad, actually. They say he did say no to love. It was a woman he was in love with, but he felt he couldn't be free enough to be a painter if he should have his focus on this woman. And I think that cost him dearly. Because loving someone, I think that can be a plus. I don't have a girlfriend, but I wouldn't say no if I fell in love with someone just for living out the artist cliche. Then again, I don't care if I'm gonna live my life alone. It's not that important. But I mean, if you were in love and you said no to it, and then you can't really connect with your paintings, that must be a very hard thing to bear. So I don't know what came first. This is just my view. It's not an objective truth, and that is very important to say. It's just my feelings when I see the later works of Edvard Munch. I think it's just it's too fast and furious. It's just sketches, and it's very typical for a person who can't connect with the next layers, that maybe just paint because he needs this short buzz every day of creating something, and having great problems getting into the depth of every painting. for every object, which I think is the most important thing. Again, it's just my opinions. Other people will probably think the totally opposite. Oh, we were such a expressionist and so rough, and yeah, but I think it's a sign of losing contact. So, anyway, medium. Pencil. This one. Put some on there. You do something with the lights in here. I look horrible in this light. I think 30.30 centimeters. It's a very nice format. It isn't that big that you feel like you're drowning, but it's also big enough to kind of, you have to make a real effort. So I think it's very nice. And then with the frame it becomes like 150.150. Because I'm using very nice framing on my paintings. So here, I painted first some red, then I went in with a yellow, and next layers I might put on some blue, and that is how I do it. I go on top of, you see here, now I go in with blue. So now these colors are kind of mixing together in a more impressionist way, and yeah, now this is more sticky, so I can also use the thing that hasn't dried yet to get that effect. So yeah, I might just paint this to a certain point, put out the video, and then if I don't sell it in this exhibition, I might just take it back and just keep working on it and bring it up to a higher level. But I have another one too. I'm going to paint of the same motif, just that I want to paint her real size, and it will be more in a landscape format, not square. That's how I create that. This, and you see the wall behind there. I take a step back. And yeah, voila, it's okay. Okay, that was 26 minutes. My videos always becomes quite long, especially when it's things like this, because but I also think I'm going to start doing some short versions of my videos, so you can actually see, and I can talk about different topic, like make a 10-hour video down to like 15 or 20 minutes, where I show textures and I show some parts of my painting process, and maybe a little bit of what's it called, fast forward time lapse. So I mix it all together and try to teach myself how to actually make videos, because you know my videos are quite crude. I just put the camera on and I keep painting and I keep ranting, and hopefully you pick something up. Let's see, I'm going to put in a highlight on the breasts just for fun. See how it comes out just with that little highlight. You see that? I think also it is a little bit, that's difficult, these nipples, or not, what is around the nipples. It's always difficult to get right. And every nipple is a little bit different. Okay. There's more highlight here. Yes. Just kind of let it glide over. Red. Now, very thick colors here now. I haven't held back, there's a lot of textures. You know, when I'm painted small, I needed to learn to hold back the textures because I went too far a couple of times. And then I had to scrape it down. But when it's bigger like this, I can actually have a little bit more freedom to go a little bit bananas with it. I think that maybe. It's such a subtle thing, because I have an eye for what seems natural, and some. Okay, here I am now going to do the last touch up on the face for this. I might, as I said before, come back to it later when I have when it has been in the exhibition, if it's not sold. So there's two possibilities: painting gets sold, or I will have a video number 2, which will be a touch-up video, or a video where I go from the result I get now in the next 2 days to but you know, it doesn't really matter. What's important is that it is good as a standalone painting, and I do think I have managed to stick to my plan and keep it quite open, and brushwork has done its duty. And it's quite subtle, quite a nice painting, and I should be pleased with it, because also I haven't been painting something this big, this fast in a long time. So it's nice to see that I still got it, still have it in me, and I'm ready for more. That's kind of a stupid thing to do, what I did there. That's the thing. At this point there is almost nothing the difference between success and totally fucking up is just so small. I need to be really careful. And yeah. Use some micro glazing. It's also a little bit harder now because the layers aren't that dry. Usually I would have let the layers dry more between the layers, but here it is basically wet and wet. And yeah. Okay. Here. This. Here. She's such beauty. Yeah. What I'm doing now is just touching it up, trying not to add too much, too little. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Now this is totally dissolving when I'm touching it. And that is a danger zone, because I don't want to stand here for like 8 hours because I do something wrong. So I have to be really careful. I just want this kind of a shadow there. There's not much, just a slight difference. Being on a deadline can be a very good thing many times, because it really makes you want to makes you focus. There is no doubt, and then in a kind of a short period of time to give yourself some challenges that is quite difficult to manage. It's a very good way to get started again. So, now her lips are beautiful. Beautiful. Yes. Sometimes you just have to prove to yourself that you are capable of doing something difficult. I had some people telling me, oh, I'm so scared of this and I can't really do this anymore because I'm scared of going so big or whatever. You know, think big. Okay. Think like you're gonna conquer something, and it's gonna be difficult, and just go. If big seems scary, that is exactly you should do. Failure is basically guaranteed. And when failure is guaranteed, you learn to accept it. You learn to accept the struggle. If you never try to push yourself or you make excuses, you're never going to be able to create something special. Something that is a little bit more than average. So try not to be scared of pushing yourself out of the comfort zone, because that is where you learn, and that is in everything in life. Get your ideas challenged. If you're really a religious person, seek information that challenge your own beliefs. If you're an atheist like me, challenge yourself by reading scripture and getting to know what you don't believe in. I mean, it's all about the challenge. If you can muster, if you can actually tackle that being challenged on all levels, you will become a better human and you will become a better painter. So, and that is real open-mindedness. People are saying, oh, you're not open-minded because you don't believe in healing. Well, you have to understand that I would absolutely like to believe in healing. Nothing would be better than if you got sick, you could just pray to some God and suddenly you are okay. But reality just seemed to suck, both for the religious and the non-religious. And that was actually an observation the church did during the plague, because the death rate were basically the same both among the religious and the non-religious. And since the religious were praying all the time, it seemed strange that it actually didn't work. Now this is a rant, but you know what I mean. Challenge yourself, and on every level. So that was my point. Was that nice? Say yeah. Start to look a little bit like her, huh? Doesn't it? Say yeah. Go a little bit closer. Now the colors are so off. It's almost depressing. But I just have to live with it. I should have maybe had a different hue in the video. Anyway. That's how it is. Yeah. Thinking out loud. So it's all the way in here. Strange, because I feel that the first sketch is so open and dynamic, and it's almost like I just keep on killing it more and more and more every time I paint. I start to get more and more ruined, worse and worse. But you know, I'm not pleased with only making sketches. It's not me. I need to go all the way. And that is where the problem starts. You know, you go beyond. And beyond your own skill wall, where it becomes difficult. And yeah, it's gonna be harder. That is the nature of things. So I just accept that and keep on banging on. There's nothing more to do with that. Yeah. Now I should do a little bit with the hair. It's very dry now, so it's hard to see. That's kind of a problem when you paint with oils, that brushwork and stuff tend to become quite, they tend to become darker. No, I mean dry, and you can't really see the colors that well, and that is sometimes a problem. But just gonna loosen it up. That's the way I do it. I just cross over like this, make it more natural, make it fall in. This one, the lip goes a little bit more out, so it comes kind of more out like that. So details like that makes the whole thing, and it's very scary when you are a little bit out of time, because it takes nothing to, as I say, to kill it. Zoom a little bit. Maybe. So you can see what I mean. So here, the lip comes out like this. And there's like this. It wasn't so bad actually. I think I hit it quite well. Just have to put some light in there. Yeah, that was quite nice. There's the line that goes a little bit more down here, and then this one. I'm looking forward to do these things very big, and she has this nice shape there in her face. Looking forward to painting more landscapes actually, and more of these beautiful paintings that I do. And a rough, very rough actually, last 5 years. And this year turned out to be, I guess, the best and the worst. On the scale of getting to know myself, it was the best year ever. On the scale of complete tragedy, it is on scale 9.5. And I have possibly more coming my way. But then you have to think, what would Marcus Aurelius Seneca have thought, well, life's a wager, life's a challenge, life just evolves, and as you say, memento mori, we will all die someday, and there aren't many things that can actually compete with the fact that you are fucked. So yeah, and I think it's very important to have times in your life when you have to struggle, because it always, very often anyway, makes people into a better human being. And at least I think I was laying and resting a little bit, and I was thinking about if I could jump back to when I was like starting in my 20s, when I started to go to drawing school in 1989, a hyperactive, kind of self-centered womanizer, thinking about girls all the time, and party, and fun, and everything was so easy. If I could go back there and be that person, the feeling of being that person, because I remember how that person was, I know exactly what I was and how I was thinking and stuff, and it is almost like you would just, if I could go back and be that person, it was almost like almost turning off my existence. It would be like I just turned off everything that makes me me. There would be almost a black hole of non-consciousness. So yeah, would I go back? I should tell myself to exercise a little bit less and maybe not almost become an alcoholic in art school or after art school. I would warn myself, but then again, if I didn't have all these downfalls, it still wouldn't be me. So if I actually could walk back to Cat and do some of the things all over again, I don't even know if I would, because the things I have done wrong, as I said many times, made me who I am. So yeah. Okay, see what I'm doing. Is that nice? Was it too much? Is this right? Is this wrong? More white there. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. There's a shadow under there. This is why these things take so much time. Because you have to just keep on going over them again and again, adding more and more, until it becomes what you are looking for. And yeah, maybe that was nice. Anyway, I'm going to keep on painting a little bit, and hopefully I won't screw it up. And I see you in the next segment. I'm going to work more with tattoos and the body and this, and then I'm going to go over it, the whole thing, with textures and shadows and more of the palettes and stuff like that. So hopefully I won't screw it up, and I will be able to finish it. And feel that I at least achieved something good. I'm trying to put in details without killing it. That is not easy. And we don't want lines. And if we don't want lines, we have to use what is in behind to create what's in the front. Alicia has quite nice lips now. I will take this and we'll drag it down under there. And then I will tone it down with some crap black. And yeah, also the one thing takes the other thing that takes the other thing that takes the other thing, and in the end you can't really stop. There's always another stage, always another thing you can do, but it just has to be for another day. Or another painting. Because as people say, nobody else sees the difference anyway. Just me. Me and my angst for not being good enough. That's the whole thing.
Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the ride and maybe picked up some important information. As I said in the beginning, you find a link to the uncensored video in description and on my channel. It's also uncensored and without any ads, but it's also restricted, so if you're 18 you can probably see it. And with this, I hope to see you in my next video. Give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Tell me what you think.